Of ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football. Tonight we're coming to you from Viking Field at Pat Mancuso Stadium as the Princeton Vikings will be hosting the Mason Comets. I'm Glenn Olson, joined tonight by my partner David Olson. Jason Dudley and another crew are on hand to bring you all the action in what should be a thrilling Greater Miami Conference action game, David. Right now, we have a four-way tie for third place in the conference. Lakota East, Mason, Sycamore, and Princeton are all knotted up at 3-2, so there will be some movement tonight based on tonight's outcome, but there's also going to be playoff implications in this game as well.
Thanks, Glenn. And yeah, as you mentioned, there are a lot of playoff implications as Mason, who's ranked 8th in the Division I Region 4 latest OHSAA points release, will need a big win tonight as they host Fairfield next week for senior night, and then will end the year at Lakota East. Drew Pastor is projecting Mason as a 6th seed.
You can find Drew Pastor's information on the web at fantastic50.net. We appreciate him making that data available to us. If that scenario would play out, Mason would end up facing Fairfield at Fairfield on the road, obviously, in the week one or in round one of playoff actions. And as you mentioned, they are meeting next week up in Mason. Princeton is not done, not out of the playoffs at this yet, but it's gonna be a pretty tough road for them to get in.
Yeah, Glenn, Pastor has Princeton with just a 2% chance of making the playoffs, and the stars would have to align perfectly for Princeton to make it to the playoffs.
So a lot on the line regardless for both of these teams tonight in their hopes of wanting to continue on into week 11 in Ohio high school action. Let's turn our focus to tonight's game, and we're going to begin by showing you the Mason starters on your screen. Mason has a lot of offensive weapons. They're 4th offensively in the GMC at this point, averaging 318 yards a game. They're also 2nd in points. They've put up 207 points this year. That's only 8 behind Colerain. We all know how powerful Colerain can be. They currently have 215. And it all starts and stops with Will Adams at the quarterback position for the Comets.
Glenn, exactly. Adams has done a good job at the quarterback position this year, who's currently 3rd in the GMC in passing yards with 762 yards, trailing Jacob Wokey, who's approaching 1,600 yards, and Jeff Tice of Fairfield with 883 yards. Adams has 6 passing touchdowns and 4 interceptions with a QBR of about 84.6.
Yeah, just amazing what Wokey's done over at Oak Hills, just the number of passing yards he's put up over there for the Highlanders this year, almost double what the number 2 guy Tyus has. Let's get back to Will Adams, though. He's also a threat on the ground. He's carried the ball 69 times, 325 yards. That averages just under 5 yards a carry. He also has 3 rushing touchdowns. But speaking of rushing touchdowns, Matt Sora just continues to impress in this Mason offensive backfield.
Yeah, Glenn, Mr. Mason, as I like to call him, Matt, who is currently 4th in GMC with 583 rushing yards, who's averaging 6.3 yards a carry with 10 rushing touchdowns, but he's also a threat as a receiver out of the backfield, who has 11 receptions for 152 yards and just a lone receiving touchdown.
So Mason has scored their points this year, and I'm sure we're going to see more of that tonight. Let's turn our attention now to the Mason defense. You're going to begin to see those Mason defensive starters on your screen. Mason is one of 4 teams that really are standing out defensively in the GMC.
As you said, Glenn, they're standing out with one of 4 teams, and they're ranked 3rd in the GMC with only giving up 221 yards per game. Fairfield leads the league at just under 195 yards per game. Colerain, Mason, and Sycamore are all in that area before there's some separation, with teams giving up closer to 300 yards a game.
And there's a big disruptor on this Mason defense, and he's not the guy you're going to see at the top of your tackle stats, but he's up there with sacks, and that's Zaid Hamden.
Yeah, Glenn, Zaid Hamden hasn't had a sack in 2 games, but the last time this happened this year, he came back against Hamilton with 2 sacks. So he's going to be hungry to get in that Princeton backfield tonight and get another sack.
Yeah, 4 sacks on the year for Hamden. He'll be looking to add to that total tonight. Let's turn our attention now to the homestanding Princeton Vikings. Want to take you back to something that happened in the Fairfield game a couple weeks ago when ICRC was here to cover the Fairfield at Princeton game. Hosea Harrison was a starting quarterback that night and was injured, went out of the game early on, and I missed it. My other broadcast partners missed it that night. Could give you a litany of excuses as to why we did, but it did, and so we certainly want to apologize to the 2 players who came in to relieve Harrison that night. That's Raphael Floyd and C.J. Thomas. And speaking of Raphael Floyd, he is tonight's expected starter at the quarterback position.
Yeah, Glenn, and Floyd, before the injury, was playing wide receiver, and he had 8 catches, averaging nearly 20 yards a catch, so he was the big man downfield. they'll miss his wide receiver abilities, but he brings speed to the backfield. As last week he had 10-plus rushes and racked up 104 yards. He's not throwing the ball a lot, but he also has a rushing touchdown against Oak Hills.
Yeah, and in that offensive backfield, the Vikings have a nice weapon, and running back Tyrese Sherman, he's coming off back-to-back 140-plus yard games.
Yeah, Sherman was a workload who last week had a season-high 19 carries and had 3 rushing touchdowns in the past 2 games, and he leads the Viking rushers with 476 yards, 6.76 yards per carry, and one of 3 players with 4 rushing touchdowns.
At the wide receiver position for Princeton, with Floyd now taking the snaps at center, the go-to guy has been Jermaine Wimpy all season. He's averaging 36 yards a carry, just 1 receiving touchdown. But to be fair, there are no Viking receivers that have more than 1 receiving touchdown at this point in the season, so they're going to rely on that ground game a lot. Now, defensively for the Vikings, there continues to be a standout, and that's Quincy Dawson. He has just been a dominant force.
And ironically, Glenn, last week he had his least productive game with just 1 assist on a tackle against Lakota West. But for the season, he has 37 solo tackles, 16 assists, a sack, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery.
We want to make sure we touch on our specialists because there's some intriguing storylines and special teams here tonight. Princeton's Zachary Lacey is a perfect 21 of 21 on his extra point tries.
And for the Comets, sophomore Brooks Curran, who's made his kicking debut last week against Middletown, was 3 of 4 on extra points and did not attempt a field goal. But junior Charles Sipe, who had been injured and has a back fracture, was 19 of 19 on extra points and 4 of 7 on field goal attempts.
So what else could you ask for? It's a beautiful evening here in mid-October by now. The blankets and jackets are coming out. It should be a game time temperature in the low 70s, ending in the 60s. Make sure the players have hydrated this week. We'll keep an eye on that. But playoff implications, everyone trying to catch up with Colerain and maybe remain in the hunt for that GMC title. Lots of storylines here tonight. This is David. I'm Glenn. Jason and his crew will be bringing you all the action. We'll have the opening kickoff for you in just a moment.
Airs it out, and it is intercepted again.
He's up off the field. He's got it in. Wide open down the left sideline. He gets the edge. He stiff arms a couple of tacklers. Look at this. What a hit. That is a great play. He's got a receiver. He's got it deep. Oh, what an interception. Wow. And more. He's got an opening. Got past the second level. One man to beat.
Welcome back to Mancuso Field at Viking Stadium. Glenn Olson and David Olson here with you to bring you this exciting GMC matchup. Mason Comets have made the trip to Chester Road to take on the Princeton Vikings. Just about set for kickoff. The Vikings will be kicking off to the Comets, David.
Yeah, Glenn, this is going to be an interesting GMC matchup tonight as we're in some sort of real Friday night football season. Like you mentioned in the pregame, the blankets are out. It'll be a bit of a chilly night here with I-75 to our left. And we're about to get off to a good game and with a lot of playoff implications.
Zach Lacey or Bryce Burton will handle the kickoff duty. Zach Lacey will be on in scoring situations for the field goals and point after tries. Expected return men for the Comets are Tanner Canoe and Jalen Johnson. So the ball's teed up as soon as the referee makes his way to the near sideline. Put it in play and get this one underway. Appreciate you tuning in to ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football. And here we go. It's going to be a kick fielded right around the 6-yard line, top of your screen. Nice hole's going to open up before he's brought down near the 25-yard line.
It's a good return, Glenn. He took it just outside the end zone there and brought it back to where it would be if it was a touchback. So we'll see if Will Adams and Matt Sork can get this Mason offense on the board and that long green line off to an early start.
Major playoff implications coming out of this one. Princeton needs to win to stay alive. Mason still has a date with Fairfield, next week. Oh, a little bit of a high snap, and that's going to be a loss back inside the 15-yard line. Snap just sailed over the head of Will Adams.
It's the last thing Mason wanted to start off with. That Princeton's going to have a tough defense here, and they're going to put a lot of pressure on that Mason offensive line, with it now being about 2nd and 20.
Close to it. The original line of scrimmage was the 24-yard line. The ball's now spotted back on the 15, so it will be 2nd and 19 for the Comets. Not the start Coach Kastner wanted, obviously.
And we're moving back up 5 with Adams getting the Princeton defense to draw off sides, and we'll see if Buzz Krogan can get that snap to Will Adams here on 2nd and about 14, 15.
That's not what Mike Daniels wanted to see. His defense breaking down mentally early on in the game. So 2nd and 14, as David said it, after the 5-yard penalty. There's another high snap.
Wow.
Adams is going to scramble out to his left, but he's going to be stacked up down around the 5-yard line. So all of a sudden, some major issues just getting the ball put into play for the Mason Comets.
I mean, Glenn, Adams doesn't have a chance on that ball. I mean, that thing's 4 or 5 feet above his head. Krogan needs to get these snaps down. Now, as we're moving back to 3rd and possibly California as we're looking at it.
Yeah, 3rd and 28 with the ball on the 6-yard line. And as mentioned a moment ago, original line of scrimmage, the Comets' own 24, and now back on their own 6. That's a tough hole to dig out of. Now you got to make sure you get this snap off. You don't lose it into the end zone. It's going to be a run up the middle. Going to get 5 yards or so of that back. So an early punting situation here for Mason. The punter is Reed Neglich, number 17. He's a senior coming out onto the field.
Leland Matthews there on the stop for the Princeton Vikings. Is now Princeton looks to take the ball over off the punt and put up a score and get Mason back on their heels, Glenn.
The return man set up at the Comets' own 45-yard line. It's a high kick. It's going to take a bounce around the 36 and take a Comets roll back close to midfield, but won't quite get there. But still great starting field position for the Princeton Vikings in their first offensive series.
Yeah, Glenn, especially being in Mason's territory already. They're not backed up against their heels, so we'll see how the offensive line is for the Princeton Vikings and if they can produce something here with having a backup quarterback, as we mentioned, in there after a injury last week.
Raphael Floyd getting the start after Jose Harrison was injured a couple weeks ago. So you lose the weapon out on the edge at receiver. But this team likes to run the football. They'll get most of their attempts on the ground tonight. I'm surprised if we see more than 10 pass attempts or so, and Princeton's find some weakness. So a stacked up backfield. It's going to be an option to Sherman, looking for a hole over on his right side, and it will not open up.
Great stop there by Cole Pierce, way to set the edge and keep it for no gain. Now we've got 2nd and 10, ball on the 48.
He was pretty excited after making that stop. You can't blame him. That's the kind of start the Comets defense wanted to get off to after the offense stumbled out of the gate. So
there's that stacked up backfield plan. Again, I bet this formation can be helpful later in the game. It's kind of like a triple option.
But there's a little bit of confusion, and Mason able to penetrate through the offensive line early on, and it's going to put the ball back into Vikings territory. So crowded backfield and not everybody on the same sheet of music. And the offenses both have been walking backward here in the early going, Dave.
Now it's Chase Evans got through on the offensive line quick there, Glenn. It seemed to be a bang-bang play. Just missed assignments on the offensive line and a little confusion, as you mentioned, as they're staying in the stacked backfield. And here we go for 3rd and long.
It's going to be a handoff. It's going to go around the left side of the formation, but cutting back across the formation is number 1. Ty Sherman, and just nothing can open up with this Vikings offense in the early going. Offensive line not able to hold. Mason getting good penetration.
Here's a replay, Glenn, and just a misdirection, but he comes back, and then that Mason defense just came and ended that play quickly as number 57, Zayed Hamden, who we talked about earlier in the game, had a big stop, and we do have a Mason Comet down on the ground around the 49-yard line.
So Princeton able to get back to the original line of scrimmage, but they're not going to walk away with any net yards from this. Injured player being attended to at midfield by the Mason training staff. Coach Kastner out to check as well. Not what you want to have, injuries on your starting defense when the playoffs are in sight. And as we talked about in the pregame, Mason still with pretty good chance of making the playoffs at this point. Tough game coming up against Fairfield next week, but already won some. You've already got Coleraine out of the way. They lost to a very good Sycamore team that's very good defensively.
That was a Casey Miller, a linebacker, junior linebacker, pardon me, for the Mason Comets, who seems to be walking off on his own power with a little limp in the leg. But now Mason will go back to punt as it's fourth and 10. Mason will take the punt, pardon me, and see if their offense worked out all the kinks and can get that long green line going, Glenn.
Tanner Canoe back at the top of your screen. Another return man.
Alec Dardis is back there as well.
He'll be at the bottom of your formation. Not much of a rush. Kind of a floppy punt. It's going to be fielded at the 20. And Princeton special teams unit right there to not allow much room to move at all. So great coverage by the Vikings on the punt, David.
Yeah, Glenn, that was in my opinion, that was a perfect special teams play. They didn't allow the Mason runner to get far, and Dardis was stopped up. And as we got the replay right here, as you said, not much of a rush, but Princeton did a great job to get down the field and just shed those blocks, and he maybe gained 3 yards, and then his forward progress was stopped.
Yeah, Dardis fielded that at the 18 or 19. You saw him get stacked up there at the 22, so that's where Will Adams and company will take over. There again, another high snap. It's a handoff up the middle. Adams seemed a little bit ready for the high snap that time. So gain of 8 on a nice rush right out of the gate. This drive already off to a better start. And of course, that's Matt Sora, number 21, who gets that initial carry. We talked in the pregame, he's averaging a little over 6 yards a carry, and he picks up 8 there.
And Will was talking to Buzz there on that last play. It's still signaling it was a little high. That's a perfect snap, Glenn, and we're going back to Matt Sora.
It's actually a gain of 9 on the last play, but Sora's going to get close to 3. The ball's going to be spotted just inside the Comets' 35-yard line. So move the chains for the Comets.
It's definitely what Mason needed, Glenn, after that last possession, all those high snaps. And the first high snap on this drive, Buzz definitely got those snaps down to Will, and Will wants to take this Mason offense down the field and score here.
Adams, his offensive teammates look over for a pre-snap adjustment. Sora lost the ball. There's a scrum for it down around the 36-yard line, which was where that play started. So Sora hit the hole hard and just never seemed to have a good grip on it, as you're going to see here. Yeah, just not a clean exchange. Well, was it? I don't think. Well, I guess it could be. It was definitely not a clean exchange. So maybe Sora wasn't expecting to keep that one in the gut. So he and Adams not on the same page there.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. It looked like it looked to be a read option, and Sora saw one thing and Adams saw another. So we'll see what we got here on 2nd and 7.
Adams with the play fake. Pass is going to be incomplete.
Intended for Tanner Canoe, and that was a tough play, Glenn. It was a low pass, and with the Princeton defense and the officials saying no catch, so we'll play 3rd and 7.
Canoe looking for an explanation from our referee out on the field. Now they're going to get together, the officials are, and huddle up near the Comets' 40-yard line to talk it over. And it looks like it's going to stand as an incompletion.
As there's no replay in OHSAA football, Glenn, so can't pull that red flag out of his back pocket, so they'll have to convert here on 3rd and 7.
Yeah, 3rd and long situation. Ball at the 38-yard line, Mason's own 38-yard line, down to 6:17, approaching the halfway mark of the opening quarter. Adams back to pass. He's got 4 wides all kind of time. He's going long. He's got a streaking receiver right down the middle of the field. The official gets caught up in it, but a huge pass play. That one ends up going complete to Canoe. So a big gainer for the Comets offense.
And Adams saw something, saw a break in the coverage there, but there is a flag back near the 33-yard line.
Oh my.
That's going to be a heartbreaker for Mason. He was wide open down the field.
Boy, the Princeton coaching staff out onto the field trying to get their defensive players on the same page because Canoe was wide open that time.
Yeah, there was a secondary breakdown. It looks to be like there was a holding. But yeah, Glenn, as you said, Canoe was wide open. I mean, he could have ran for a country mile before he got tackled. And here's a replay.
You're going to see Adams. He had a clean pocket all the way. He just took that stutter step over to his right to get a cleaner look at Canoe. And there you see Canoe, not a red jersey anywhere around him that could have got to him to bring that play to a stop. But it all comes back due to a penalty. So that's one of those plays that opens up maybe once a game, David, if you're lucky to, to change the field position in such a drastic manner.
Yeah, so obviously it's another passing down. We got 3rd and 22, so we'll see if Adams looks to go for Canoe for a 3rd straight time. 3
to the top, 1 to the bottom. Adams steps up away from the pressure, lets another long pass fly. But it was caught, but was it? Yep, out of bounds, incomplete. Out of bounds, was looking for his receiver.
Alec Dardis, intended receiver.
Over on the far sideline. So give the Mason offensive line credit. Short of the problems they've had snapping the ball from the center, they've done their job and blocked tonight.
They definitely have, Glenn. Will Adams hasn't been under pressure, and that's what you like to see. It's early in the quarter, so Will Adams has to be pleased that he's not taking a lot of pressure after they got that snap adjustment down. So we'll see if the Mason defense can get a stop here. Out of a punt.
Yeah, not a great punt at all. It's going to take a Vikings roll and be fielded right near midfield.
Alec Tavella there on the tackle for the Comets.
Return man that time for Princeton. Number 15, that's Trey Key. He's a junior running back in his day job. He's not helping out on special teams.
But again, Princeton starting in Mason territory like they did last time, so it's a battle. Who's going to do what here?
We'll see what kind of adjustments Princeton was able to make on the offensive line, because so far that Mason front four has been spending a lot of time in the Vikings offensive backfield, David.
Yeah, Glenn, and now we're just set up in a normal shotgun. There's no running back and an extra running back behind the quarterback here. So look for another run, but not as much complication in the backfield.
Floyd's going to look over and see if there's any pre-snap adjustments based on what the defense is showing. Calls for the ball. Pressure coming. He's going to have to get rid of the ball quick and pass in and out of the hands of his intended receiver on the bottom of your screen.
Coach.
Yeah, just the pressure was coming and pass maybe a little bit off the mark. Timing route. Had to get rid of that one a little bit before he wanted to.
And a pass, that's one of the few passes we'll see tonight. So that was definitely a rare play. And now we've got doubles to the bottom of your screen and a single wide receiver to the top.
Floyd.
Sherman on the run.
Yeah, Sherman's going to take that one to the top of the formation. Sorry about the confusion there. But it's going to be real close to a first down, so 3rd and maybe a foot.
Glenn, I'm noticing there's like 2 TVs on the side, which I've never seen before on a high school sideline, that players can re-watch that last drive.
Yeah, with this huddle system that many of these teams are using now, it's become pretty commonplace. Read option's not going to go anywhere, and in fact, it's going to lose a couple of yards. I'm kind of surprised sometimes. You've got an offensive philosophy you want to stick to, but when you're 3rd and a foot, you've got to trust your center and your quarterback, I think, sometimes just to run a sneak up the middle.
Oh, yeah, I agree, Glenn. But that Mason D-line's tough, but when it's 3rd and a foot, you definitely have to go for it, as we're going to see Princeton go for it on 4th down here against the tough Mason defensive line when Reed Nagelick made the last stop on the last play.
Yeah, Coach Daniels is going to trust his defense to do their job. Floyd back to pass, pump fakes and lets it fly.
Wow, what a catch.
And
but they are saying he's out of bounds.
Out of bounds, yeah. Ball was caught down around the 15-yard line, but out of bounds. So Mike Daniels gambles. His offense can't convert, and Mason's going to take over with pretty good field position. 1st and 10 from their own 41-yard line. 4:03 remaining in the opening quarter.
That was Jermaine Wimpy there on the last. He was the intended receiver there on that play and made a great play, just couldn't get that first foot in bounds.
Wimpy, we talked about him in the pregame. He's been the go-to guy when the ball does go in the air for the Vikings. So 3rd drive now underway for the Mason Comets. Still scoreless. Week 8 action here from Princeton High School.
There's a blitz.
Yeah, Vikings were showing blitz. Sora dances right through it, cuts over to his left. Couple men to beat. He's going to get forced out of bounds. Yeah, he didn't. Was trying to run the sideline down. He's going to step out of bounds at the 27-yard line. So Matt Sora automatically breathing life into this Comets offense.
Great blocking again by that Mason offensive line, and then Sora just turns on the turbos. He gets the corner. Just his momentum took him out of bounds when he tried to dance up the sideline, Glenn.
Fresh set of downs, to say the least. 1st and 10 from the 27. The Comets now well within Viking territory. They're going to go right back to Sora, who's going to dance his way to the bottom, but can't quite turn the corner. It's going to be a gain of 4 or thereabouts, regardless. So we kind of figured we'd see a steady dose of Matt Sora tonight, and definitely seen it on this drive.
That was Elijah Harris trying to tackle, but Sora's done a great job. And as he's been the primary man, but backup running back Connor Gary actually fractured his knee recently, so he is sitting out this game. So Sora's going to have to take on a lot of the running duties tonight, as he usually does.
Vikings showing blitz again, and one of the blitzers came through too early. Adams recognized it and was able to delay his snap count. So that's the second defensive miscue we've seen for the Vikings tonight, and getting the Vikings to move early.
Yeah, Glenn, and Adams is doing a great job, but man, they were bringing both linebackers there, the outside and the inside linebackers, and I don't know if that Mason defense could have stopped it when they were rushing 6.
2nd and 2 after the penalty. No receivers split out, just one went in motion. Adams is going to keep it, can't get his lead blocked though. He'll pick up maybe a yard if he gets a generous spot, but it looks like it's going to go for no gain, so we'll hold it 3rd and 2.
That's the least productive we've seen the Mason offensive line so far, Glenn, besides those snap miscues at the beginning. I mean, they couldn't set the edge, and Princeton did a great job of getting through those blocks and to get to Adams.
Well, that's just where you know what's coming, right? When you're going to set up your offense in that formation. Vikings can think run all the way. Sora gets a hole, a flag gets thrown in though. He'll go into the end zone, but chances are it's going to come back, as that came from right in the middle of the field. If it holds up, it'll be a touchdown for Sora, and he's been just about everything on this drive, but it's going to come back on a hold. Sorry to step over you there, David.
Oh, you're fine, Glenn, but man, that's got to be another heartbreaker. Just a few miscues hurting this Mason offense tonight, but that was a great run by Matt, straight up the heart of the Princeton defense, and what would have been 6, but now we've got 3rd and long here inside of Princeton territory.
Yeah, you had a 3rd and 3. Now it's going to be 3rd and 13. And the passing situations have not exactly been ideal for the Comets so far tonight. The little bit of success they've had come back on a penalty.
Two wideouts, double tight end, Sora in the backfield with Adams.
Adams is going to keep it. Sora's his lead blocker. He opens up a hole. Adams dances through it and gets himself down to the 20-yard line, so he's going to be a couple yards shy of the 1st down. Now it's decision time.
Jamin Thomas there on the tackle for the Princeton Vikings, as he just beat Sora off the block and wrapped up Adams to stop him. It's about 4th and 5.
4th and 5, and the offense will stay on the field. They're going to shoot the extra with a field goal try.
I think there's a lot of trust in that sophomore field goal kicker, Glenn.
A lot of trust in Matt Sora. Vikings showing blitz again, and once again the Vikings jump. So you see the game plan coming from the Vikings defensive line and linebackers. They want to blitz, but they're just getting too anxious. Take a look at it on replay. You're going to see in the top left corner of your screen the guilty party got into that neutral zone. All Adams had to do was sit and wait on it.
Mate, and that Comet O-line was like statues. And Adams did a great job of having the hard cadence and drawing Princeton off sides, which I don't know if it'll be enough to be an automatic 1st down, but if it's not, it's 4th and maybe a foot.
Yeah, it's going to be real close. 4th and maybe a foot. So Adams will stay back in the pistol. Sora behind him. got a lead blocker standing in, or 2 lead blockers actually, 2 of the running backs or H-backs in the backfield with Adams. It's going to go to Sora. The offensive line gets a good push forward, and that'll be a first down and more for the Comets.
That's what Mason needed, Glenn. They've been struggling, a few mishaps there, and a great first down now inside the Princeton, inside the red zone, and we'll see if they can capitalize off of that.
Gonna have some substitutions. One receiver to the bottom, one to the top. H-back Adams and Sora in the backfield. They look over for any adjustments. Sora's going to take it. He's got room on the right side, but the Viking defense stays home and seals the deal. So a good enough gain for Sora, but ran out of real estate.
That was Bryce Burton on the stop there. For the Vikings, that was a great stop as Sora had all the green field in the world, and he had the edge. Just his wide receiver let off the block, and then just a pack of Vikings right there to stop Sora in his tracks.
Gain of 4, 2nd and 6. Approaching the 35-second mark here of the opening quarter from Pat Mancuso Field at Viking Stadium. There's another high snap. Adams is going to have to track this one down, and that's going to bring the ball all the way back to the 35-yard line. So it's got to be, what, the 4th high snap we've seen so far tonight?
5th, but can you say ouch?
Yeah, I mean, you're in the red zone, and now all of a sudden you're closer to midfield than you are the end zone.
I mean, something obviously has to be going on with Buzz Krogan as he's just struggled all night. Now we've got 3rd and the coast of Alaska.
3rd and 30, and that will do it for the first quarter. So the Mason Comets had a head of steam offensively, but the troubles continue between the center and the quarterback, and that's so far been a big problem.
Yeah, Glenn, you think Coach Kastner has Krogan work on his snaps right now? Because if I'm Coach Kastner, I'm having Krogan work on his snaps to at least get them down and get Mason within field goal range to at least put some points on the board here to start the second quarter.
There's definitely something going on there. Not sure if it's a change in technique. Mason Comets, it's not the first time they played on field turf all year. Playing with their own footballs on offense, right?
Right. I mean, there's nothing new unless like they're brand new football straight out of the package, and the coaches didn't get to scrub them down this week. Which, if they're, it'd be stickier. But I just think something's going on with Krogan. There's someone getting in his head, or there's just something. But if you're Coach Kastner, what are you talking about right now in this huddle, Glenn?
My offensive line coach take center and ask him what's going on would be the first question. Might have to maybe change your formations up a little bit. Start keeping somebody else out, back there to help track these footballs down. Because sooner or later, Will Adams is going to take a wrong hit trying to chase down a high snap.
Yeah. And Krogan's a senior, Glenn, so he obviously has experience with snapping the ball. So it's just something in his head. And as we resume with 3rd and 30 with the ball in the Princeton 34.
The nose tackle and the center are almost head-to-head. The helmets were almost touching. There's a long pass and knocked down at the last minute.
Intended for Austin Coy there, Glenn.
Yeah, that play was there, but the closing speed of the Viking defender able to negate the play. So it will be a turnover on downs after 4th and 30, and obviously Mason had to try to hit a home run to convert.
And it was almost there. It was at the warning track. Just great defense there by Princeton as Meg looks out there to punt for Mason. He hopes
down, excuse me. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought that was 4th, 3rd.
Oh, you're fine. You are fine. Yeah.
Our chain gang's quick on the draw over there with that electronic down marker.
Yeah, those have been real handy, haven't they?
You can see that a lot better than you can the jersey numbers. I can promise you that from up here. High punt. It's going to take a Comet bounce and just goes into the end zone for a touchback.
He had it on the 1, Glenn.
Yeah, nice hustle that time by the Comet special team unit. Could have put the Vikings in a tough hole, but not able to seal the deal.
That was defensive back Jake Orlando. And obviously he showed why he plays defense there, Glenn. That one went right through his hands. He had him down at the 1.
1st and 10 from the 20 for the Vikings, still looking to find any sort of offensive rhythm in this game. No score after 1 quarter. Seen more mistakes than we've seen successes tonight thus far.
That was a low snap there for Princeton.
Sherman takes it out on the right side. He's going to pick up 4 yards. And that's what they need out of Sherman. They're going to have to get 4, 5, 6 yards of pop out of him tonight.
That wasn't actually Sherman, Glenn. That was Davion Bryant. Sherman was number 1. So they're loading the box back there in the backfield with a bunch of running backs.
Timeout's going to be taken by Princeton to talk things over after the gain of 4. So if you have some success, I guess you want to make sure you've got the right players on the field, the right formation, and try to capitalize on the positive yardage, which has been elusive so far tonight.
Yeah, and as you said, Glenn, the pass is going to be rare tonight. And the running game's just been tough with that Mason D line's just so big and they're so good. So we're going to see how Princeton adjusts here to make a 2nd and 6 play.
And the Vikings obviously trying to keep the Comets defense guessing with that offensive formation with the quarterback and the 2 running backs bunched tight together and putting it in the hands of starting quarterback Raphael Floyd to decide who gets the ball and which way we're going. 2 receivers to the bottom, 1 to the top, the 2 running backs into the backfield with Floyd. Floyd's going to keep it himself on a draw up the middle and should have enough yardage for the first down.
And as we mentioned, Glenn, he's speedy. He's not a pass threat, but he is a very big running threat. So they've practically got 3 running backs in the backfield there. So it's up to Floyd to see where he wants to go with the ball, as you said, and it's 1st and 10 Vikings from their own 31-yard line.
2 receivers to the bottom, 1 to the top again, basically the same formation. Going to look over, get the adjustment from the coaching staff. Floyd in the middle. Floyd's stacked up, tries to bounce it to the top of the formation, and that's going to be a loss. Mason Comet's defensive line did a nice job of getting penetration that time, getting a good push, putting the Vikings in a hole coming out of the timeout.
They have to read option and just with the Comets in the backfield before he can even make an option. I mean, he didn't know what to do with the ball because there were 3 Comets in his face.
It's hard to run when you don't have anywhere to run to, right?
Exactly.
Hands off that time to Ty Sherman. Gets down a few yards back. It's going to be a 3rd and long situation for the Vikings, though. We're under 10 minutes now in the 2nd quarter. It's youth night here at Viking Stadium. You're going to notice some of our sideline shots. Lots of youth cheerleaders down on the track with the varsity, JV and freshman cheerleaders. Good crowd on hand here tonight. Beautiful night for football.
I agree, Glenn. This is ideal football weather. Big hole there.
Yeah, handoff goes to the top of the formation, and that's Davion Bryant. Going to be a couple yards shy, though, of the first down.
All right, Glenn. You see if Princeton made the 4th down adjustment. Nope. They're going to bring out the punting team.
Yeah, they don't want to give the Comets offense this short of the field if they're not able to convert. So with the ball on the 39-yard line, they needed to get up to the 41. Going to punt it away.
You got Dardis and Canoe back deep for the Comets. As Bryce Burton comes on the punt. Oh,
up fake. Well executed. First down and more. It was a direct snap to one of the up men. He's going to cross over into Vikings territory. So a very timely play call. A little bit of trickeration, to say the least, by the Vikings, and they convert on 4th and 2.
Put the trust in the big men running the ball, not your quarterback.
So that was Bryce Burton. You see him dancing off the field celebrating. He'll take that all day long to keep his offense out on the field. Nice trick play by the Vikings.
Now, Princeton's first trip into Mason territory. Let's see if they can capitalize as they're going. Princeton went back to the starting formation. There goes Sherman around the left side. He was met by Cole Pierce there to contain him on the edge and only keep him to 3. As we've got second and about 7.
A little bit of confusion out on the field for the Vikings. Great people out there, but a little bit unsure how they're going to line up offensively. Plenty of time on the play clock, though. Floyd's going to keep that himself and advance the ball up to the 41-yard line. So he'll gain a yard.
Chase Evans and Casey Miller there on the stop, and here's a replay. Just
nowhere to go.
Princeton offensive line isn't producing like the Mason offensive line is. The holes aren't there. Protection isn't there. I think Princeton definitely needs to work on that because that Mason D line is very tough as they just rush forward in that 4-3 defense.
Floyd barking out instructions to his offensive line. Come back and prepare for the snap. Going to be a handoff to Burton. He's going to try the right side and can't even get back to where the ball was snapped from.
Zayed Hamden, he was very frustrated after that play as he had him in the backfield. In the game. Zayed, pardon me.
So another 4th and long situation for the Vikings. They had a little bit of success, not able to do much with it on this drive. We saw the fake punt. 4th and 2, now we're 4th and 8 officially. Plenty of time, no rush. Good deep kick will sail into the end zone for a touchback. So it will be a net change of field position for just about 23 yards for the Vikings.
Yep, Mason offense is coming back out. See if they can produce, and hopefully those mishaps are under control now, Glenn.
And we'll keep a close eye on that action from center to quarterback. Mason, neither one of these teams. In fact, it's rare in high school to see a quarterback go under center at all anymore, unless it's a quarterback sneak. Got to be able to get the ball back to your quarterback.
Yeah, that pistol and that West Coast style offense has been huge now in Ohio high school football.
That was clean. It's a handoff to Sora. A nice hole is going to open up in the middle. Gain of 8 yards, 7 or 8 yards right off the bat.
That was Quincy Dawson, who we talked about in the pregame on the tackle there, and there's Sora. And that Mason offensive line is producing holes left and right for Sora to run through, and they're big holes.
Yeah.
So Sora's not having to do a lot of work.
Sora's getting to the second level before he's even being contacted.
And as we say that.
Yeah, as we say that, Princeton gets into the backfield in a hurry, and Sora's going to get dropped for a pretty significant loss.
That was Darion Henry there on the tackle for the Princeton Vikings.
3rd and 4. Vikings look over, or the Comets look over for some guidance. Some substitutions occur. Plenty of time on the play clock, approaching 15 seconds now. One receiver to the bottom, one to the top. Stack up the offensive line and H-back to help. Got to figure they're going back to Sora here, which indeed they do. Sora's going to take the ball. Nothing opens up on the left-hand side of the line. Going to be lucky to get a yard or two out of that.
Sora trying to make a case that he wasn't down, but we'll see here on the replay, Glenn. I don't think he did, Glenn. I don't see a body part touch.
No. The referees were pretty adamant. Yeah, so first down, ends up converting. So good effort by Sora. Fresh set of downs for the Comets. Huddle up by the interior of the Vikings offense, or the Comets offense, excuse me. It's going to be a pitch to Sora, finds a hole to get through, gets away from one defender, tries to cut back and go across the field, which he does, gets by another defender. He's going to be real close to the first down. He's tackled inbounds The clock will keep running. Now we're going to have a timeout for measurement. He's going to be about a yard shy. Nope, there's the indication, first down. So nice run, gain of 10 by Matt Sora. Just a great effort here, David.
Yeah, and his great vision as he just cuts back up cross field, starts to run a little bit south and east to west. But as we can't see, there, Will Adams went and tried to take a lead block. He was just a little bit too far up field in front of Sora. But as you said, first down Comets on the 40-yard line.
Comets going to go with that heavy formation again up on the line. Now they'll take a timeout to talk about it. Princeton's going to take a timeout, excuse me, so they're going to burn timeout number 2 of the half. 3:59 remaining in the second quarter. Mike Daniels wants to try to give his offense a chance to get the ball back, so they'll call it over and make sure everyone's on the same page for this play coming out of the timeout.
I think that timeout really was for the defense, or for the defensive line. Those guys had to be tired. Matt Sora's fast, Glenn, and we've seen that all year, so it's hard to just have a consistent run game like Mason does and to defend it well without wearing down. So with 3:59 left in the first half with a 0-0 score, Coach Adams just wanted to slow everything down, maybe get Sora out of his rhythm, and we'll go here with 1st and 10.
And that's, Sora's obviously got tremendous speed, but he's got great vision on the field also. Just that last play was an example how he, was a design play to go to the right, and he cuts back, goes to the left, and picks up the first down.
Yeah, he sees the field great, Glenn, and that's a great thing to have as a senior running back.
So it's going to be a pass play. Adams under pressure, steps up away from it. He's going to keep it, but can't get away from the pressure, and he's going to lose a couple yards. Lose 1, actually. So the ball will go back to the 39-yard line. So it looked like a pass play, and receivers couldn't get open. Adams is going to take off with it.
Looks like that's the first time we've seen pressure in the Mason backfield tonight, Glenn.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11.
Levon Wilson on the stop there for the Princeton Vikings. It's now 2nd and 11.
Couple receivers to the bottom. Adams is going to pass, looks up top, has to scramble away from the pressure. He's going to let it go before he gets hit. He did get hit, and the ball is picked off. Adams was under pressure.
That was Cecil Singleton coming up with the ball for the Vikings, but there's a flag back near the 30, Glenn.
Well, it's probably for the hit on Adams because he let that ball fly and got absolutely drilled.
So we're looking at a 15-yarder at least.
Very likely. It'll be enough for a first down.
Roughing the passer.
Yep.
Automatic first down.
Yeah.
It's a big play for Mason. Big.
Well, big play for Princeton. They had a chance there, and silly penalty. And watch Adams here. He's going to scramble away. Here comes the pressure. Steps up away from it. Goes. That was the previous play. But he stepped away from the pressure and let the ball fly before he was hit, and just got absolutely drilled. I mean, the contact knocked him back a few yards. It wasn't a wrap. It was a drill. If that makes any sense.
Here we go.
Yeah.
That's the second play in a row. We've seen pressure under. Oh my! You saw there at the bottom left of your screen there. Wow, that was a lick.
Shoulder right into the face mask area. So it's going to move the ball into Vikings territory. 1st and 10 from the Princeton 46.
That was Bowman in motion.
Vikings showing blitz. They hand off again to Sora. Sora's going to get stacked up and get back to the line of scrimmage for no gain. Forward progress up to the original line.
Looks like we got that announcer's curse, Glenn. We've been talking so well about the Mason offensive line and how they were opening up holes left and right. And then 3 straight plays now we've seen that Princeton defensive line get in the backfield and keep Mason to a minimal gain.
Princeton keeps gambling with the blitz. Their timing was off early on with all the penalties. Sooner or later, this Mason coaching staff's going to go back to the air, and the Vikings are showing blitz and try to take advantage of a mismatch. Adams has scrambled again away from pressure, tries to dump it off to Sora, and Adams was scrambling for his life that time. Didn't want to take another lick, and just couldn't get the ball delivered on the money to Sora. It was low and to Sora's left.
No Schlegel there on the pressure for Princeton, as we're going to see here, as he just blows through his block, and Adams had nothing else to do besides at least try to get it off and avoid the sack. We've got 3rd and 9.
Clock stopped at 2:23 after the incompletion. 3rd and 9, as David mentioned. The ball on the Vikings 45-yard line. 2 receivers to the top and bottom. Adams and Sora in the backfield. Pressure coming again. Adams is looking to pass, tries to step up away from the pressure, and is sacked at the 50-yard line. As we just talked about, sooner or later, the Comets were going to have to go to the air to try to beat the blitz. Looked like they tried to that time, but the offensive line could not hold up the pressure applied by the Vikings defense, and out comes the Comet punting team.
That was Thomas on the sack there for the Princeton Vikings, and that seemed to really spark the Princeton sideline, as they're going to get the ball back here with under a minute to go in the first half, and they're going to have to run that good old-fashioned 2-minute drill, Glenn.
Clock is rolling, approaching 1:40, so liable to be right at a minute. Not much of a rush by the Vikings. High snap's going to sail toward the bottom of the screen. Comets just a step or two shy from possibly pinning the Vikings deep in their own territory, but as you saw, the ball rolled into the end zone for the touchback. So 1st and 10 for Princeton from their own 20-yard line.
That was Terrell Meisel that right there running down with the ball. So we got a minute and a half left, Glenn. What do you think Princeton's going to do here? You take a long shot?
Well, I think probably they will, but not right off the bat. I would think they'll go with the running play and then maybe try to catch Mason napping after the run, but I don't think they will pull the pass play out right off the bat. See how right I am.
I mean, at least you got to at least get to, what, the 30, 25 for a shot at a field goal?
It's going to have to get some positive yardage. Ball's going to be advanced up to the 21, 22-yard line. Look like one of the fans found our crowd mic down there.
As we're talking, Zachary Lacey is warming up down at his own 25-yard line into that kicking net, and we've got 2nd and 8 with a minute 2 to go.
Clock rolling.
Tick, 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 tick.
Vikings going to have a little more sense of urgency. Floyd back to pass. That's going to be interference.
No, nothing.
No flag.
Uncatchable ball, and that was...
Yeah, overshot his intended receiver, but there was lots of contact.
That was Jake Orlando there on the defense for the Comets.
Well, the good news is the clock stopped. The bad news is it's 3rd and a bunch. What will the Vikings do here? Comets are probably thinking pass, so they run the ball. Still have the 1 timeout left. Going to try to go to the left side of the formation, and not a whole lot there.
That play had me confused, Glenn. I thought he kept the ball. He had wide open green space.
And Mason's going to elect to take a timeout to preserve the 40 seconds left in the half after what's likely to be a Vikings punt.
Here's the replay. Just a great tackle, great form tackle there by Cole Pierce. Lowered the shoulder, drive. Way to stop him, keep him short of the first down marker. He's got 4th and 4, and you said Mason called that timeout. 40 seconds left, Glenn.
Well, can't take him to the locker room with you. So nothing wrong with calling the timeout and trying to give yourself a chance to get the football back. The problem is now you've got to figure out a way to protect Will Adams, because the Princeton defensive line has really stepped up and done a good job here on that last series when the Vikings were on offense.
Got Canoe back deep on the bottom of your screen, and he's going to fair catch it at the 45. So 6 ticks off the clock, Glenn. We're down to 34 seconds. Mason takes the ball on their own 45-yard line. And what do you do here?
Well, we You know, we talked about you've got a sophomore place kicker now due to the injury to your established junior. He was 3 for 4 in extra point tries last week, so you've got to get a serious gainer to get into field goal position anyway. Might as well try to go ahead and hit the house while you're at it. That would be my thought. So,
exactly.
But again, you've got to keep Adams upright. You know, when Mason's gone to that 4-receiver package, the Vikings have been able to take advantage of it.
And Sora's not in the backfield here. Glenn looks like he's split out left.
Adams looking for an open receiver, lets it fly, and he's going to be slow to get up. He was hit as he threw the ball, but was running for his life. Receiver couldn't get any separation, and Adams was running out of room to go, places to go.
He looks like he's thrown across his body there, and that was great defense to get a hand up there, but what happened after the play just took a hard lick from number 9, Elijah Harris. So now we've got 2nd and 10 with 27 seconds left, Glenn.
2nd and 10. Now we're back to that 4-receiver package. 2 to the top, 2 to the bottom. The Vikings take advantage of it, and they're showing blitz.
Trey Knapp in the backfield with Adams, and another short throw.
Yeah, pass off the mark that time. Adams was under no pressure at all. He just couldn't deliver a clean football to his intended receiver.
That was number 18, Alec Dardis. I've got 3rd and 10, and that offensive liner, I mean, Adams needs to stay still, because when he looks like he's throwing on the run, it doesn't seem to be working for him.
Well, and design play to go to that receiver on the left side, and it's difficult to throw on the run across your body, as you talked about on the play before.
Goes Knapp in motion.
Adams has time, dances away, has to step up away from the pressure, and he's not able to, and he's going to be brought down back at the 36-yard line. Princeton's going to call timeouts. Keep the clock rolling.
Just great pressure. I mean, Adams was looking downfield and just couldn't find anyone open, and that was Jamin Thomas that tripped him up and caused now 4th and 18 as the scoreboard reads with 14 seconds left.
All right, Princeton's going to get the ball back one more time. So we'll have a chance to take 1, maybe 2 shots out to the end zone to try to break this scoreless tie here that we've seen in the first half. And I have to admit, I'm somewhat surprised. Mason has put up some pretty impressive offensive stats so far this season and really struggling to find the answer against this Vikings defense tonight.
It's a big game for Princeton, and with a lot of playoff implications on the line. I think Princeton might be playing with a little bit more heart, but with our broadcast partners to our left, I know what Mason Sports Radio said that Mason's averaging about 29.5 a contest. So either Mason's going to have a huge second half, or we're in for a barn burner run.
Vikings are going to bring everybody but one to try to get a hand on this football, and it's going to force a bad snap that's going to sail out of bounds in the vicinity of the 40-yard line. They're going to call it I thought it was the 39, but now the referee keeps moving. They're going to bring the ball all the way up to the 46 or 47-yard line. So not bad field position at all for the Vikings with 9 seconds left. That ought to be enough to get 2 plays off, I would think. But Floyd's going to have to get rid of the ball in a hurry.
Yeah, and they're saying they got 1 timeout left, so if he lands inbounds, Coach Adams is going to have to be ready to call a timeout. And at least maybe, if they're close enough, take a shot at the field goal or go towards the house.
You know, the problem with that is you got to get the referee's attention because they've all got jobs to do. Trying to get the ball spotted and put back into play. So 9 seconds left. It's 1st and 10 from the Vikings' own 47-yard line. 53 yards is what they need to get a touchdown. See what Coach Daniels has dialed up. Floyd's going to keep it up the middle. He's going to get over into Comet's territory and be brought down at the 47-yard line, and there's the timeout.
2 seconds left.
Burn 7 seconds off the clock. It's a gain, maybe 5 yards. Maybe 6. But need a lot more than that. So So you'd have to think we're going to see some sort of Hail Mary. Can the offensive line hold up to give Floyd the time he needs to get rid of the football for his receivers to get downfield and try to create some sense of separation, David?
Yeah, I mean, they've been running that stacked offensive line or the stacked backfield, pardon me. So we're going to see if they're going to go trips all out, if to at least get someone downfield. But it looks like they're going to keep one in the backfield. We'll go 3 to the top of your screen and 1 on the bottom, and they're just going to hope for the best as they got the Haynes team out there in the secondary for Mason.
Floyd with a quick pass, with a trick and forced out of bounds. So very well executed and well designed play even before that. Worked the way it's supposed to, but Vikings come up short. We'll take a look at this on replay. There you see the quick pass and then the lateral back and good closing speed by Mason's defender that time, Reed Naglich. So we'll go to the locker room all knotted up at 0. And a little bit of a mild surprise here in Greater Miami Conference action. We'll be right back with the second half. ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football in just a few moments.
Stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Even if I wanted to.
And now we feature our dancing stars. The Princeton drill team dancing to Counting Stars. Said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Yeah, we'll be counting stars. Give it up for our drill team. My songs know what you did in the dark, so light 'em up, light 'em up. And now the song that signifies Viking victory, Go Princeton! be sure to visit their Facebook page, Princeton 6 through 12 bands, to see pictures of their performance at the Bleak Parade last night. And be sure to visit the Music Boosters concession stands.
Welcome back to the second half. Greater Miami Conference football matchup being brought to you on ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football. Glenn Olson and David Olson with you. David, a pretty ugly first half. I think we are both surprised that we have not seen either team dent the scoreboard yet.
Yeah, Glenn, we came into the game talking a lot about how good the Mason offense has been. And in the pregame, we talked about how they're the fourth in the GMC, and how Princeton's just fighting tonight, and their defense, both defenses are playing well, keeping it at 0-0. And I think we're in for an exciting second half as both some halftime adjustments were made, and Princeton's going to start with the ball. But yeah, it's been pretty ugly.
As hard as it will be to believe, 31 net yards for the Comets, 72 for the Vikings. Matt Sora has 85 yards, but Will Adams has given 54 of it back, and many of those due to the high snaps, the issues that we saw in the first half that was happening for Mason offensively. So short of that, not a whole lot's jumping off the stat sheet. Mason is dominating in time of possession, 1336 to 622, but neither team has been able to establish any momentum offensively, to say the least. So we've seen Mason take some shots downfield with deep passes, only to have them brought back on a penalty. So Mason kicks it off to get the second half underway. The kick is fielded just inside the 10-yard line. Return man looks for room in the middle, has a block, and boy, if he gets that block on the edge, and the turf monster slipped up and got him.
The famous turf monster, Glenn.
That was number 4 for the Vikings with an incredible return. And had it not been for trying to make a cut across the field, he could have been headed to the house.
And here we go.
And that was Javon Daly,
Just slipped. I mean, like as you said, Glenn, it was a turf monster. And I really don't know what to say there.
There's nothing you can say. It's just a freak accident. That's one of the, that can happen on natural grass just like it can field turf. But great starting field position for this Vikings offense. 1st and 10 from their own 45-yard line after an excellent return. Floyd, quick pass. It's going to be complete to the top of the formation. Will be a first down and more. That was complete to Ty Sherman, I believe. That's number 7. Jermaine Wimpy. I tell you, these gray numerals on these jerseys look fantastic, but at a dark field like this, they are an absolute nightmare to read. So apologies for taking some time to get the call right sometimes. And
there's some laundry.
And a false start on the Vikings, so the offense give it, and the referee taketh away. Do not abide by the agreed upon rules.
That referee I think he was trying to show off his arm. That thing maybe went about 40 feet in the air. I don't know what the point of that flag was, but
you get lost in this stadium here.
Pretty sure can.
Lights. It's a very, very dimly lit field, I think is fair to say.
Oh, I'd agree that for sure.
Clock stopped at 11:23 after the penalty. Rolling again now as referees put the ball back in play. And just no room at all for the Vikings in which to operate. That was a handoff to Bryant that time from Floyd, and Vikings are marching backwards after a promising start after kickoff return.
And Floyd takes a lick here from number 2, Jalen Johnson, and he didn't even have a ball. I mean, he took a lick.
Well, Adams said no. We'll pay back for that one earlier.
Yeah,
right.
That
Adams took. Floyd's going to keep it himself. Darts up through the middle. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. Ball will be spotted, just shy of the line of scrimmage. It'll be spotted up the 45-yard line. So it's going to set up 3rd and 11.
One receiver to the top, 2 to your bottom of your screen. Shotgun formation. Running back to the left and right of Floyd.
Floyd looks over for an adjustment, as does his skill player teammates. Just joining us, major playoff implications in this game. Could be a handoff to Bryant. He doesn't have a lot of room on the right as he's tripped up down at the bottom of the formation by number 23 for Mason. That's Cole Pierce. So the Vikings will have to punt. Take a look at the replay here, Dave.
And he had the edge open, just Pierce for the Comets got pumped off that block real well and stopped his momentum, and he only kept him to a yard, so we got 4th and 10, and number 12 back there for Princeton, as in Bryce Burton in the punt. Whoa.
I think that might have been partially deflected.
And he picks it up.
Up past the 30, 35-yard line, gets up close to the 40-yard line. So very good punt return off not the greatest punt in the world by the Comets.
That was number 5, Tanner Canoe, on the take back there.
Canoe, a little bit of a gamble picking that one up, but made the most of it. Once he did pick it up, he'll stay out on offense. Try to get, like to see Will Adams get a football thrown to him his way if he can stay upright long enough.
Yeah, hopefully that offensive line got their cues worked out and the snaps are low here.
Hand off to Sora, looking for room up the middle, cuts it back to the bottom.
Look at Adams.
Got a lead block. Yeah, lead block by Adams, but unfortunately Sora is tracked down from behind. But Will Adams showing a flash of speed and a little bit of guts and a great lead block you're going to see here to the top of your screen. Here's where Sora bounces it outside. Now look at Adams. I got to come up and block for my running back and watch this block. Pow! But unfortunately Sora got tracked down from behind.
By Cecil Singleton, but he was rumbling and stumbling on that play, and you never see a quarterback lay his life on the line for a running back like that, and that's awesome to see, Glenn.
A little bit of low snap. It's a design play for Adams to keep the ball, and he's going to slip out in that same area just about where the kickoff return for the Vikings had slipped a little while ago out near the 40-yard line.
I think the Turf Monster found out where he's living now, and it's in Evendale, Ohio, on the 40-yard line of the Princeton Viking Stadium.
Not real something in that spot of the field, and it's not like we've had rain in the last few
It's
days.
that light green grass.
Yeah. They mowed it differently, huh?
Right, yeah.
So Sora back out there. It was a little bit of a different personnel grouping last time in that design run. They're going to go right back to Sora. He's just going to follow his blockers up the middle, and the pile's going to push forward inside the 35-yard line down to the 34. So Matt Sora has been the only thing that's been working consistently for this Comets offense tonight.
Here's a replay, Glenn, and he just goes right up the middle. And watch that offensive line. They just all start pushing. It's just a pile. He's rumbling and stumbling, and I don't know what else he's doing. I mean, there's just a flock of people right there.
3rd and 4. Approaching 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. Comets desperately want to hit pay dirt on this drive. I think they're kind of in disbelief. They haven't been able to score thus far in the game.
Here comes another blitz.
Yep, it's been the MO all night. Back to Sora. He bounces out to the outside, gets the edge, first down, and he's forced out of bounds. So great run by Matt Sora. Keep the drive alive for the Comets.
That was Singleton forcing him out there, but what a stiff arm by Sora as we watch here. Just sheds one tackle and then just, no, get away from me, son. First down.
Could have been a face mask. He had a hold of that.
If the ref don't see it, it don't count.
Well, I understand that, but it don't want to have a nice run brought back because you get your fingers tied up in the defender's face mask. 1st and 10 now for the Comets, driving into Vikings territory. Ball spotted at the 28-yard line. Fake to Sora. Adams on the draw up the middle. He's got
10,
room.
5. Touchdown, Comets.
Yeah. Nice design play by the Mason Comets. Fakes the handoff to Sora. Adams comes through the hole, finds his way to the end zone. We talked about it on the nice run to Sora to the bottom of the formation a few plays ago. Adams has wheels.
He does, Glenn, and showed him there, and I mean, just ran through the heart of that Princeton defense as we're going to see here, and he just edges just enough in that end zone. The cushion on the goalpost blocked the view, but his knee could have been down, but no review in Ohio high school football.
Going to get our first look at Brooks Curran tonight. Snap is down, kick is up. Wow.
What a leg on a sophomore.
Tell me he's a sophomore. Woo. That was a strong extra point, if there can be such a thing.
He had a lot of leg behind that, but
yeah,
we're going to go back to that Matt Sora run right now.
Well, the stiff arm, and watch here, Tennessee. You can see his hand firmly hold.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he got a full grasp because there was a visor.
I think he did. I think he had a pretty good handful of it. So Sora more than likely got away with one there.
Yeah, I agree.
That kept that drive alive. So the Mason Comets break through some excellent halftime adjustments, getting Will Adams on a couple of design runs, and they move in front 7-0. 7:37 remaining in the third quarter.
The thing that's standing out to me, Glenn, is that Will Adams isn't afraid to put his body on the line for his running back, Matt Sora. He did that in the first half as well, but the play ended up getting brought back. But you don't see that a lot from a quarterback, Glenn. I mean, I think I've seen Carson Palmer do it once or twice, but you never see a quarterback start to outrun his running back, to lay his body on the line.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, Adams not going to throw the ball a whole heck of a lot. And, you know, a nice adjustment by the offensive coaching staff to set up some design runs, and you stay with your steady dose of Sora as well.
There goes Curran, and a little pooch kick. And we were just talking about, wow. Whew. That was Aaron Coates Jr. on a return there, but wow, what a hit here on the kick return by the Mason defense, as Princeton will take over from their own 30-yard line on the hash closest to the Mason sideline. And the powerful Mason defense will come back out and try to get another stop against the Princeton offense. Wow, that was a hit, Glenn.
So 7-0, Comets out in front, 7:33 remaining in the third quarter. A little bit of a different formation look. Floyd under pressure, has to throw it away, and no receiver in the area. Nothing but white jerseys over on the Comet sideline. So nice job by the Mason defensive line, getting penetration and pressure on Raphael Floyd and forcing him into a pass he really would have preferred not to have thrown.
That was big number 50, Jake Brasher, there on the defense for the Comets, and he brought a lot of pressure. It's a big body coming at you. All 6 foot, 218 pounds of him, Glenn.
So back to this more traditional formation that we've seen out of the Vikings tonight. It was traditional for them, and what that play didn't have a chance. Sorry to laugh, but getting into the backfield in a hurry was number 49 for the Mason Comets. That's Alex Tavella.
I mean,
and
just straight through him.
right off
no
the
block.
handoff. Yeah, right off the handoff.
I mean, that's perfect defense to me, Glenn. He read that perfectly, got through that play, and I mean, there was no confusion there at all. And that's well executed defense by Tavella.
So a little bit of a change in formation. There's a flag. Will be a false start possibly on the Vikings. Nope, it's going to go against the Comets. So the Vikings are going to turn a 3rd and 17 into a little bit more favorable of a situation, but not going with that 2 running back look in this formation. They're going to spread things out a little bit, keep one running back in and put another receiver out on the edge, trying to find the mismatch.
Yeah, Glenn, we got trips to the bottom of your screen, one receiver to the top. And we got Sherman in the backfield for Princeton, as we're going to see what they're going to do here on 3rd and 12.
Yeah, Floyd's going to let it go. It's a low pass and nearly intercepted. Big collision in the middle of the field. Vikings were trying to force the ball in to Trey Key, and just a big collision with the Mason defender right there, vicinity of the 45-yard line. So right play call, but good defense by the Comets, David.
Yeah, that was number 2, Jalen Johnson on the defense there, and he went up the ladder for that one, Glenn. And it would have been a great play. It would have been a great pick, but he was up there and definitely caused some disruption. Now we've got 4th and 12.
Vikings not able to answer. They'll have to come out and punt. Mason brings the house. Kick gets off again. Not the prettiest kick. Takes a Viking bounce, though. It's going to be fielded at the 35-yard line. Return man gets away. He's going to force his way up to the 45-yard line. So good enough return by the Mason Comets that time. And that's number 5, Canoe, right?
Yes, sir. And Canoe's done a great job back there tonight, and making some elusive plays, but at least getting his offense in great starting position, as he's a wide receiver as well. So he's going right back out there on offense after taking the return.
6:11 remaining in the third quarter. You're watching ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football. Just a quick reminder, you can catch tonight's game as well as all the other activities that we cover at our website, ICRC-TV.com, ICRC-TV.com, where you'll find the government meetings, the educational events, as well as all the high-quality high school sporting contests we bring you. Do more than football, soccer as well. Basketball season right around the corner. Tryouts will be taking place here in the next 2+ weeks. As you see our ICRC-TV replay schedule for the Spectrum and Fioptic subscribers. Comets back on offense, 6:11 remaining. Adams and Sora in the backfield, and H back in front of him. They're going to go back to Sora. Sora plows his way up through the middle. Is going to get the ball near midfield, but be stopped just short at the Comets' own 49-yard line, and be the 49 3/4 yard line if such a thing existed.
Here's a replay, and Sora does a great job of just keeping his feet churning after that initial contact to get that extra yard. So now we've got 2nd and 5 for the Comets with the ball placed just inside the 50-yard line.
Different formation look this time. New goes into motion. Now he's going to bounce back out. This can be a design run for Adams. He's going to keep the ball. Spins away off the tackle. Gets a first down and more. Gets into Vikings territory. He's going to be brought down at the 42-yard line. So nice design run for Adams and a great second effort by Adams to get the extra yardage after contact.
Here's the replay. And he did a great job getting away from the tackle, and that was Elijah Harris, number 9 from Princeton, to make that tackle, but we still have a first down Mason with the ball on the Princeton 42-yard line.
Yeah, so after not being able to find the end zone, the Comets are threatening here to go up by 2 scores. Sora with nice hesitation. He's going to keep pushing, trying to get some help from behind. He'll advance the ball up to the 40-yard line, so that'll be a gain of 2 yards. Bring up 3rd and 6. See if they go back to Adams, let him try to flash his speed again. He's been very successful on these design runs in the second half, starting to beat the dead horse, but if it's working, why change?
Exactly, Glenn. I think it's actually 2nd down. They beat you to looking over there, so we got 2nd and 8, but I mean, Sora's the workhorse. Keep giving it to him, let him keep grinding, because there's obviously something working with the running game right now.
Fake the Sora. Adams is going to look to pass. Dances away from some pressure. Here it comes. He's going to keep it and step up away from it. And he'll get the ball up to the 39-yard line. So a gain of 2 or 3 yards. His receivers couldn't get the separation. Maybe a little bit of happy feet by Adams there. He started moving away from the pressure, anticipating it before it actually got to him. But ultimately, he did have to evade that pressure.
And he had a lot of protection at the beginning of the play, Glenn, which we were seeing in the first half, and just as wide receivers couldn't find that separation. So now we've got 3rd and 6, and we're going to see what the Comets are going to do here.
It's going to be an Adams run, I think. Up, low snap, hands off to Soares. Soares going to bounce it out to the bottom. Tries to cut back inside, but nice stop there by the Vikings defense. Not letting Sora get loose, and that was number 17. Quincy Dawson, favorite target we talked about in the pregame show defensively, right?
Yeah, and he's coming off a bad game last week, and he had 37 solo tackles coming in the game, Glenn. So he was hungry for some more tackles, and we've called his name a few times tonight as it's 4th and 4 for the Comets, and they're going to stick out on the field.
Yeah, well, you've got to trust your defense here. It's too long of a field goal, probably.
Yeah,
that's 52. Yeah, that's way too long. 52, 53-yard field goal, especially for a sophomore kicker thrust into the starting role due to an injury. So the Comets were going to try to get the Vikings to bite on the hard count, which they've been successful at 3, 4, 5 times tonight, it seems like, and not able to get it done. They're going to burn a timeout. Their first time out of the half will leave them with 2 for the final 15 minutes and 11 seconds of this football game. But it sets up 4th and 4, and here I think it's probably a good use of timeout. Go ahead, see if you can get them to jump. They didn't. Now get over and get the right play call. And if you do turn it over on downs,
trust your defense.
Yeah, trust your defense. It's done a great job tonight.
Well, obviously, I mean, with Princeton still haven't scoring, and if I'm coach, if I'm Mason here, I go for it. You have nothing to lose. I mean, your defense has played well, like we've talked about. You guys, we have a 7-0 lead, so go for it.
Can't punt here. You're not going to kick the field goal, like you said. It's 52 yards, which for a senior kicker would probably be a stretch in the high school game, unless they were a blue chip D1 prospect, right?
Yeah, but it looks like Mason is going to punt here, so we're going to see if they can corner the punt and pin them deep, unless they're running a fake.
See if it is a fake indeed. Nope. Well, now we're going to get a flag on the field. False start on Mason. Maybe.
I don't know what this signal is, Glenn. Maybe an illegal substitution?
Yeah. That's going to be on Princeton, so that's going to put the Comet defense right back on the field. So good decision by the Comets to call the timeouts and ultimately bring the punting unit out, and caught the Vikings in another mental lapse and able to convert it for a first down. So I guess you'll take it however you can get it, whether it's by penalty or whether you actually go out and get the necessary yardage, right?
Yeah, Glenn. I mean, you got to take advantage of this now. So with 3:09 left here in the third quarter, Mason has to take advantage of it. And if they can go up 14 with 12 minutes or with the fourth quarter remaining, I think their defense will be good and they can hold Princeton.
Soar gets a good start, finds a big hole up the middle, gets a screen from the official as well, and it's going to be a first down and more as he advances the football up to the 13-yard line. A fantastic run by Matt Sora. Just running out of adjectives to describe the way he's run the football tonight.
Yeah, and here's the replay, Glenn, and Sora just takes it. I mean, just look at that offensive line. Like, you don't see that in normal high school football. These Mason offensive linemen have been absolutely incredible and know how to pave the way for their running backs. I mean, I see why they call their student section a black hole, because their students create a hole on the offensive line.
Now the play is going to be blown dead. That'll likely go against Mason with the false start. But going back to that last play, Trey Knapp did a good job. He's listed as one of the fullbacks on the roster in this power spread offense, and did a good job of getting up to the line and holding his block to give Sora room.
I mean, it honestly looked like Moses part of the Red Sea there, Glenn. I mean, he had such a wide open running space. It was incredible.
It wasn't that wide, he would have found the end zone, but it was still a good big hole.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We're working on it.
So 1st and 15 for the Comets after the false start penalty. Sora again bounces it to the bottom of the formation. He's going to
be a horse collar.
Yeah, well, that should be a late hit right there. He was in the grasp over to the sideline and thrown to the field well past the white chalk. So I'm actually kind of shocked there wasn't a flag thrown.
Here's a replay of that, Glenn. Just Sora, great vision, gets outside, another stiff arm, and just 4, 5, 6 Princeton
get down inside it. There should have been the whistle right. Well, I guess they're going to say somebody fell into him.
Yeah, then he tripped over to the track.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Seemed like the prevailing thought is when in doubt, throw the flag, but didn't seem to be the case on that one.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got second and about 12, and Adams will keep it around the left side. He's got one block. Takes a lick. That's
okay, though. He'll take that. That's going to be close to a first down. Should set up a 1st and goal. I think he's going to be maybe a yard shy. They measured. This is awfully close.
That was Elijah Everhart on the hit for the Princeton Vikings, and here's the replay of that. Adams gets around side, and Eberhardt just lowers that shoulder. And wow, what a hit. Now we've got 3rd and maybe a yard, maybe a foot.
I really can't believe they're not measuring that. Wow.
Bring out the chain gang, when in doubt, walk that line.
So 3rd and 1 after a 2nd and long situation.
You got to go under center here, Glenn. I think Adam.
No.
Sora, touchdown.
Give it to Sora. He's going to fight his way into the end zone. Wow. Just couldn't quite get there. I thought it was a touchdown.
Really? They left him short. Wow.
Be curious to see.
Here's a replay. Another great job of blocking.
They cut back. Boy, how could he not? How
the ball had to have broken the playing, Glenn. I don't know
how is that not a touchdown?
Oh, it is. It is. Here comes the kicking team. Okay.
I never saw the indication.
Either I saw one, but wow, that was a late indication.
That was not even close to not being in the end zone. So Curran will attempt the point after.
Canoe the hold. Splits the upright.
Very well executed. Again, just, for a sophomore thrust into that position unexpectedly, he's done an admirable job, to say the least, tonight. He's got a very powerful play.
Yeah, and he's only missed one between the last 2 games. He was 3 of 4 last week, and he's 2 of 2 tonight, Glenn, with 2 minutes left in the third quarter as the Comets take a 14-0 lead.
2 minutes exactly remaining in the third quarter, and it's been all Mason here in the third quarter. Excellent halftime adjustments. Getting the ball into the hands of Will Adams more on design runs has been a key. Matt Soares continuing to run with a purpose. And just a very impressive third quarter by the Mason Comets offense.
I agree there, Glenn. And Princeton's got 14 minutes left to play for that playoff spot, Glenn. As we talked about it, they only had a 2% chance of making the playoffs before tonight. And if they can somehow find pay dirt twice to tie this game up, maybe extend their chances. But it's not looking good right now for the Princeton Vikings as Curran and his kicking team come back out to the 40-yard line and get ready to give the ball back to the Princeton offense.
And Princeton needs to find a way to sustain a drive and get positive yards, and that's been a struggle in this entire game. Most of the yards they picked up were on that hook and ladder play at the end of the first half.
That was probably 30, 40 yards, Glenn. So and like they had, 72 at the half?
Yeah.
Another short
kick. Short kick. Keep that out of the hands of your designated return man and try to hit an up man, and obviously it works because the Comet special teams unit able to get down and only give up about 5 yards, if that, on the return.
I think it's not in the air very long, but it gives that special teams long enough just to blow through those front line of blocks and get there because obviously it's not a designated return man.
1:53 remaining in the third quarter. Vikings need to find a way to sustain a drive. Vikings struggling for answers offensively. Going to go back with that 2 running back look. Nothing doing. Mason defense not fooled at all. They're staying at home and doing their job, David.
Yeah, and that was number 50, Jake Brasher, who emerged from the bottom of that Mason pile there. The Mason defensive line has done a great job the whole night, Glenn. I'm very impressed with that, and they've done a good job of limiting the run from Princeton because Princeton's such a run-heavy team.
Bryant's going to be brought down from behind. He, again, maybe one of those tackles that kind of wonder maybe if it could have been a horse collar.
Yeah, we'll see here on the replay. Great block, and then here comes Jalen Johnson from Mason, number 2, as you're going to see. And no.
Just kind of looks like it.
Yeah,
a handful of jersey.
There's you don't really see defensive holding at the high school level, Glenn. So now we've got third and about 8, maybe 9.
9, yeah. Scoreboard still says 10, but it's really 9. Floyd's going to have to dump one off, and it's going to come up incomplete. Didn't have enough mustard on that one. Floyd just got rid of that ball maybe a little bit too quickly and didn't throw the greatest pass in the world to his intended receiver. So the Vikings offense just continues to struggle to find answers to this Comet defense.
And obviously, Glenn, that was a design screen as the offensive line just give those D linemen a tap and they got it. But the Mason defense was bringing a safety or a linebacker there on the blitz, and they couldn't do anything about it. And he didn't have time to look for anything else. So now Floyd off the field as Mason Mason defense back on to return the kick. And that'll be Canoe again.
Yeah, fields that one just inside the 40-yard line, and he's going to dart and dive his way up across the 45 to the 47-yard line. So great field position. One thing you don't want to do is give this Comets a relatively short field to work with. Comets offense a short field to work with, and Princeton does just that. The ball is going to be spotted at the 47-yard line.
There's Jalen Dallas coming up on the tackle there for the Vikings, but Canoe's done a great job. His runs haven't been long, but they've been effective, Glenn. And the punts haven't been great, but, Mason's starting 3 yards from Princeton territory. You can't ask for a better starting position unless it's like on their 1 yard line. So
right.
Mason, obviously, will probably go back to the run, and Sora, and we'll see what they do.
Yeah, Sora's going to find a little bit of a hole to his right side. He's going to pick up 3 yards. So he's brought down right at midfield, maybe a touch inside into Vikings territory. Based on the spot of the FAR official, it will be into Vikings territory by maybe half of the football.
That was Bryce Burton on the tackle there for the Vikings, who is their punter. Showing some muscle on defense.
2nd and 7, and that's going to be the end of the third quarter. So after 3, it's the visiting Mason Comets 14, home team the Princeton Vikings nothing, David, and beating a dead horse. But Princeton has not been able to find any consistency on offense. Rafael Floyd, I don't know if you'd say he's struggling at that quarterback position, but that last play we saw, he had time, started to panic maybe a little bit early, and then threw a low pass to a receiver who was wide open.
Yeah, Glenn, and I think this Princeton team has gone through a lot in the past few years. This is their third coach in 3 years, and it's tough. It's tough to get a core group of guys and a core group to know what you're doing and what you want to run. And they've obviously been struggling this year, but tonight, just with the first half we saw, I never would have expected that kind of first half coming into the game for Mason. But now with Mason up 14 and now into the fourth quarter, the Princeton defense has to show up here and make something. They got to do something to at least get a stop and try to get that offense back on the field. And they need to. The run game needs to be adjusted. Obviously, do they take a shot at the pass with Mason expecting a run from Floyd or from Sherman? So we're going to see here as Mason takes over. Start of the fourth quarter, 2nd and 8. Another three-person backfield set. Sora behind Adams.
Vikings showing blitz again. No room in the end, so to speak, trying over to the left side.
That was Caden Niehaus on a run for the Comets, and he was the up back in that play. Just like, as you said, Glenn, nothing working.
Only one a few times here in the second half it's not been working for the Comets.
Yeah, their run game's definitely been good this half. And he lost a couple there. I believe it should be 3rd and 9. We've got trips to the top, or we got 2 wide receivers to the top of your screen, one on the bottom, and a tight end on the bottom of the screen as well.
Adams looks over for an adjustment, calls for the ball. It's going to be a pass play. He's got time, lets the ball fly, and underthrows his intended receiver, who was wide open, Austin Croy. Croy getting one of his first starts of the season tonight after battling a variety of ailments and injuries this season.
Yeah, just a bit short, Glenn. And now Princeton makes a big stop there.
Yep.
On 3rd down, and they got to produce, Glenn. I mean, it's we're beating the dead horse, as you said. I mean, they need to produce somehow, some way to at least get on the board and try to make a case.
Trey Key back to receive this punt. He's positioned himself just inside the 25-yard line.
There's a flag running into the punter.
Yeah. Kind of, I don't know. Sometimes I like that call, sometimes I don't.
I mean,
it was contact.
Yeah.
It was definitely contact, but he was coming in for a block and just couldn't stop his momentum. So there's the indication from our official, and boy, there's a angry fan of Princeton stand right in midfield. And probably a good thing we didn't have a camera on it. Holy cow. So a crazy turn of events here. We'll see what
Did Mason decline it?
I don't know why you would.
Yeah, they declined it.
Huh. Okay. Well, I guess they're happy with the digging. I guess they didn't want to kick the ball again.
No.
Right? It wasn't going to be enough to convert, right?
No, I think it was only been a 5-yard penalty, so just take the punt where it was.
Putting faith in their defense and a Princeton offense that, again, has been struggling all night. Put them in a deep hole. The ball spotted back at the 14-yard line.
Some adjustments by the Mason defense here.
It's an offense that's going to have to make some adjustments. Just not working tonight. There's a handoff. It's going to go to the top of the formation, and again, can't get to the edge over there. That was number 15, Trey Key, who got to carry that time. You're going to see on the replay. Gets out beside his blocker and then runs into a brick wall.
That was Tyree Mizell there, but wow, what a hit there by Mizell.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7, let's call it. Nice run up the middle. Had a good shot at the ball carrier there. Going right through the hole. So Princeton starting to find a little bit of a rhythm here, maybe finding something that might work, but they're going to have to hurry up and find the end zone. Another handoff to Key, and he's wrapped up in the backfield.
That was number 52, Chase Evans on the tackle.
Yeah, Evans just blew that up from the beginning. Sorry to
Oh,
step
you're
over you.
fine, but he's been disruptive this whole game.
Yeah.
And Evans has done a great job of getting through a Princeton offensive line. But, I mean, here's the story again. Princeton out the punt. Mason will start the ball guaranteed within the Princeton territory because as Johnson and Canoe go back to their own 43, 42-ish.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of a high snap. Good kick.
There's a good punt.
High end over in.
Oh, no. Fumbles it.
Oh, ball still loose. Mason's going to recover the football back at the 34-yard line, so near disaster averted if you're a fan of the green and white tonight. Wow.
And that was Terrell Meisel on the recovery there for the Comets, and a big recovery because that would have been a huge momentum swing over to the Princeton side, but Princeton just can't catch a break tonight.
Well, they're being stubborn and sticking to that offense, and it's just not working. I don't know if it's the offensive line or hesitation on the part of an inexperienced quarterback in Floyd, but you know that option just not opening up tonight at all.
I think it's a mixture of a lot of things, Glenn, and I mean, when you've got a guy who's converted from wide receiver to quarterback, it can be nerve-wracking.
Okay, so here come the Comets again, 9:21. Vikings showing blitz. Sora with a nice spin move. What button's that on the controller?
I think that's the circle button.
That's what it looked like, man.
Yeah.
He hit that spin early. It looked like he hit it before he didn't even make contact. He was just trying to avoid
just
it.
a little early, as we're going to get a replay of that and a little bit of whop. Oh, there's no one even there. He just spinning for fun, I guess. I mean, I guess you got to enjoy your senior season, right, Glenn?
That's no Braxton Miller play.
No, man. That boy spun his cleats. They were gone.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
I respect the spin move, but
I respect it too.
There goes Adams.
Oh, he's tripped up. A design run by Adams, and he's tripped up. It's going to lose a bunch. It's going to be marked back at the 30 or 31-yard line. So
here's the replay. Good read option. Just run a little bit south. And
well, it's a good read option until you got a defender in your back pocket, right?
And that was Quincy Dawson.
Yeah. He's the disruptor.
Yeah.
He's been the consistent disruptor for this Vikings defense tonight.
He might have been the only consistent thing for Princeton tonight.
It's probably a fair statement at this point, unfortunately, for Vikings fans. Just no answers offensively.
Two wide receivers at the bottom of your screen, two to the top. Sora in motion in the backfield behind Adams.
Yeah, a little bit of an adjustment. He's going to switch sides. It's going to be a pass play for Adams. Tosses it off to Sora. He's going to lose a yard or two. So Dawson again finds a way to come through and get his name called and make a big play for the Vikings.
Trey Key will be back deep for the Vikings as the Mason punt team comes on.
That was a little bit of a Keystone Copster team on the punt unit that time. Sideways kick, punts muffed but recovered and be returned right about up to where he fielded the ball originally for number 15, Trey Key.
That was Niehaus on the tackle there. And man, that's back-to-back punts, Glenn, where the return man just not paying attention or he's running down the field before he has the ball.
So the Vikings offense huddled up by their coaching staff and led by head coach Mike Daniels down near the 40-yard line. See them trotting out onto the field to take their positions, but struggling to find answers.
Two wideouts to the top, one on the bottom. Another run.
It's going to be advanced up to the 46, 47-yard line. Boy, those numbers are just a bear.
Yeah, they're tough. And here's the replay.
That's number 1, Ty Sherman.
And it looked like he ran into one of his own offensive linemen, and Mason took advantage of that and wrapped him up and kept him to a gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
Very well may have. Floyd back to pass. He gets happy feet, stepping away from the pressure. He's being tracked down that time defensively by Mason's Jake Brasher. And has to let the ball go, and not a good throw. It falls
low with his intended receiver.
That was Isaac Hawkins for Princeton. Here's a replay. And just as soon as he dropped that pass, it seems like he was nervous.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'd be nervous too if I had Bratcher running after me. He's very quick, as you saw on the replay. The Vikings going to be very deliberate about getting this play call in. They've got to convert in this 3rd and 7 situation. I mean, I almost think it's a must-score drive. What do you think?
It's 4-down territory, Glenn.
Yeah.
Anyway you look at it.
A low snap. Floyd's able to come up with it, but he's going to scamper off. And Turf Monster traded sides of the field, and Floyd's going to get tripped up at the 35-yard line. So low snap. He pedals away from the pressure, maybe a little bit early, and just slips on the turf. So there you see the low snap. Maybe never quite got his balance, but he did. He was trying to stutter step and just lost his balance and tripped up.
And here comes Burton for another punt. Canoe and Johnson back deep.
Good snap, pressure coming, gets it off. End over end kick will be fielded at the 31-yard line. Good coverage down there by the Viking special team unit there, so not much of a return.
I think Burton was smart there to kick away from Canoe over to Jalen Johnson.
And just great coverage.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's
by the Vikings.
What a
Gunner, as you're going to see on the replay here. There you see
right
him.
there.
Hey, why don't you take a seat right here about the 31-yard line.
Holding on for dear life. Throwing onto that ankle. Don't let him get anywhere else. But Adams trots back onto the field with 5:54 remaining in the game. As we mentioned, big playoff implications, but not looking good for the Princeton Vikings.
14-0 for the Comets. They'd like to add to it in some manner here.
There goes Sora.
Big run up the middle for Sora. It's going to be forced out of bounds well into Viking territory between the 40 and 35. We'll give you the official spot. It's going to be closer to the 40. It looks like the 39-yard line, but look at Matt Sora. Could have driven a Mack truck through that hole. One guy to beat, and he gets forced out of bounds. That's probably a touchdown-saving bump out that time by number 8, Cecil Singleton, the senior wide receiver and defensive back.
Obviously the big storyline of today's game, Glenn, is Matt Sora. What can't he do?
It's going to be a handoff up the middle.
Logan Dalton.
Yeah.
Junior running back, 6'1", 189 pounds.
Giving Sora a little bit of a break after the long run. Clock continues to move after the gain of 4. 2nd and 6. We're under 5:30 to go in the game now.
Tick.
Yeah. We realize you're probably watching this game on tape delay, but it looked like Fairfield was struggling.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say against Coleraine there was a 103-yard touchdown, interception return for a touchdown in that game toward the end of the first half.
I believe that was by a UC commit.
Yeah.
Can't think of the name, but I believe I saw that.
Yeah. I'll tell you in just a moment as you see Dalton carry the ball again. He's going to be just a yard shy of picking up the first down, but boy, good vision there. Bouncing back through that hole.
These Mason running backs definitely have great vision of the ball, and they're taught very well. And now we've got 3rd and 1, 4:35 left to go in the game. Mason just buying time as much as they can.
Javon Hicks. 31-6 now, Fairfield or Coleraine.
And it was a close game at half. It was like
that's Coleraine for you. They've done that all year. They've kept games close at the half, and then just they explode on you in the 3rd and 4th quarter. That is Coleraine for you to a T. There's a first down conversion by the Mason Comets, by the way, because we should talk about the game we're covering, not the one on the other side of town.
We're thinking about the GMC champs.
But just an impressive run by Coleraine. You can't say enough how impressive that is. I think 17 plus years of not losing a league game, haven't lost a league title since the late 90s. Tom Grippin out in Milford was the last coach while he was at Fairfield to win the GMC, other than a Coleraine football team, Kerry Combs and Tom Bolden at the helm. So, yeah, you're talking about a generation of kids, right?
Right. I mean,
I've never seen anybody win a GMC title other than Coleraine.
There's been 3 or 4 Boldens that have gone through with their dad at the helm,
yeah,
and they've all won GMC titles.
Yep. That tough non-conference schedule always pays off come playoff time.
Dalton on another carry.
An injured Viking limping his way off the field, as you see on your screen there. Under his own power, but hobbled a little bit.
Is that Jay Smith, I believe?
And Mason is going to bleed this play clock and try to escape out of here without giving the Vikings another chance to touch the football. It's 2nd and 9 as we approach the 3:15 mark.
And if, as good as Matt Soares played tonight, and with Mason being up 14-0, I still would want to be in that film room tomorrow.
Dalton again, another nice carry. Doing a good job of spelling Sora.
And they're not long runs. They're just...
these are just clock eaters.
Right, but I mean, like, they're gaining 4 or 5 yards. I mean, they're not like perfect runs, but I mean, these little 4 or 5 yard run plays, with the board saying 3, those can just eat away at a defense.
Yeah. You just, it's 3rd and 7 officially, but it's really a long 6. It's a very short 7. But yeah, this is bleed to play clock, run into the line, push forward, and just try to convert. Dalton's going to get a handful of his jersey grabbed up, and he's not going to go anywhere. So now it's going to be decision time for the Mason Comets. They're not able to convert on 3rd and 7. Timeout's going to be taken on the field by Princeton.
I bring out Kern in this situation. See what kind of leg he's got. He's obviously showed he's got some leg, and you got nothing to lose. You're up 14 with 2 minutes left.
41-yard attempt. Ball spotted at the 24. So he's shown leg on the extra points, but a 41-yard field goal is a whole lot different than an extra point try, I guess. But he's not made a field goal, or not
he's
attempted
not
a field
one
goal.
Yet,
yeah,
so I mean, gotta learn something.
Not much wind at all. The flag, American flag, is just lying limp on the flagpole down in the, lost my sense of direction here, in the west end zone. We're up 10 minutes from here. I should know what direction that is.
I mean, I guess so.
Driven by this school 1,000 times.
I mean, we can talk about how beautiful the campus is over there after they renovated the school. I mean, it's like walking into a small college campus. I mean, we've both been here for athletic events.
It's nicer than some small college campuses I've been on, let's be honest.
I
That's a
attend
beautiful
UC Blue
gym.
Ash, and I would say this school is prettier than UC Blue Ash.
They've got a little. Blue Ash had a little bit of a head start in the aging department compared to this
Yeah,
Princeton High School.
year
I think it's just in their 2nd year of operation across the road.
There's a false start, but did the defense cause the false start?
Well, that was Adams trying to get the Viking defense to jump, and those of you who are Bengals fans remember the famous Dave Lapham hold your water call, and somebody on the offensive line couldn't hold their water. So 4th and 7 is going to become 4th and 12. And what do you do?
I'd say bring out the punt. Best thing to do.
Yep. Ball's going to be spotted back at the 30-yard line now.
Well, you think Mason takes the delay a game here? No?
Well, maybe you do to give your, attempt to, nope, they're going to take a timeout.
I would have taken the delay a game just to give your punter some more room to work and get a directional kick out of bounds.
Well, if you want a pooch punt, probably not the worst idea in the world, right?
I mean, not the worst.
To give him 5 more yards with which to work. Decision time for Coach Kastner. What do you do? I'm inclined to agree with you. I would take the penalty. As a reminder, if you've enjoyed watching our productions on ICRC-TV.com on our cablecast replays, we need you to come out and help. You can learn how to run a camera, come up here and announce in the booth, learn how to run the production truck, learn how to produce a show in the studio. We will train and generally provide food.
Usually, yeah.
It's down there. This came after we came out.
You can't go wrong with free food for a bunch of high school students,
Make sure you contact Jason at ICRC-TV.com. Come on board and help us out. We want to make some new friends and get some more people interested in community broadcasting. 2:17 remaining. Adams
Gonna
gonna
pass.
stay in offensive formation. He's got time, scrambles away, but now
no late hit.
That could be. I'm surprised that wasn't a late hit. He was down and Princeton defender dove on him. So it's one thing you can say tonight. We're not seeing a lot of penalties other than the offsides and encroachments.
A few things that got Mason, but I mean, yeah, that easily should have been a late hit there on number 93, who's not listed on the roster.
Well, good field position for the Vikings, but only 2 minutes and 10 seconds to do something with it. They trail 14-0. Going to start this drive on their own 35-yard line.
There's just a look of despair on the Princeton sideline, Glenn, and it's just sad to see because.
Well, it's got to be frustrating.
Oh, it has to be.
Just nothing has worked offensively.
And there's a new formation, but
quick pass, complete. Steps out of bounds. So stop the clock after 6 seconds. We're closing at 2:04. Pass was complete. That time to Trey Key.
And Key was in motion and just did a great job to get out of the pocket and a little quick dump off and let him do his work up the field.
Floyd's going to have to throw across his body this time.
Oh, Floyd's going to go deep.
Oh, he just signaled his receiver. That's going to be picked off. Yep. Intercepted back at the 25-yard line by number 19 for the Comets. And that number 19 is Dominic Negro. And, you knew the direction this one was going when Floyd was rolling to his left.
And calls a shot.
And was trying to call his shot.
Oh, yeah, go deeper. And that was
boy,
a lick
he did take a look at the end of that play.
I mean, this was like watching a Hail Mary at the end of a game. You got your hands team back there. So, I mean, Comets with 1:51 left. I keep Storer off the field. I keep Adams off the field.
I think that might be Negro's 5th interception of the year. I think he had 3 or 4 coming in. I'm pretty sure it was 4. I think that's 5.
Really? So Negro's been definitely a big secondary player for that long green line as they wear that LGL bumper on the front of their helmet.
1st and 10 for the Comets from their own 39. Adams had just gotten off the field and right back out. It'll be a gain of maybe 4 yards. Push on the far side of the field. Being a little more generous than the near side was. He walked off about 5 yards and walked 4 of them back off. Clock continues to run. Mason in the driver's seat. Leading 14-0. Pitching 1:20 to play. So just a tale of 2 halves. Pretty even first half. Neither team able to find much rhythm and consistency, but boy, has Mason found it in the second half, and Princeton has not.
Just Princeton was struggling to stop that running game and get that Sora Adams 1-2 punch.
Dalton, nice hole, opens up the middle, good second effort. He's going to advance the football up to the 45-yard line.
Timeout taken by Princeton. And Dalton's joined that Adams and Sora duo to make it a trio. I mean, he's gaining 4 to 5 yards every carry, and like you can't ask for more out of a backup running back.
Well, Sora's done for the night.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. His shoulder pad should be off by now.
He's put in a great effort, and Dalton has done an admirable job of stepping into that role and really doing a good job of finding the hole, being a patient runner, showing good vision at times. So really, got to be optimistic about the way Dalton, just a junior, has run the football. 6'1", 189 pounds. Just a junior. He'll be back next year.
I think, Mason has a lot to work on before going into hosting Fairfield next week. But I think it gives him some confidence. You're going off a win in the senior night. Go celebrate your seniors in style. Play hard. Get them a win. Go to Lakota East and finish the year. And if the projections are right, they're going right back. They're going to Fairfield in the first round of the playoffs. So they just got to keep working and definitely got to fix some things.
A little bit of a low snap. Dalton's just going to run into a brick wall and not get past the line of scrimmage. Princeton is going to take their last time out of the game. The clock will stop with 52 seconds remaining Well, I think the key for Princeton, or for Mason, is going to be to learn from what didn't go right in the first half. The botched exchanges between the center and the quarterback, and to figure out why they couldn't seem to do much besides hand the ball off to Matt Sora. Princeton, the learning curve, unfortunately, I think is going to be a little bit deeper than that. Just obviously the injury to Hosea Harrison we talked about at the beginning of the game, got an inexperienced quarterback out there, but just the philosophy, the approach just doesn't seem to be working for the Vikings offense. They're just not able to get the blocking they need up front to let those option plays work.
Yeah, and I think, Glenn, Princeton's just got to have a great offseason. The O-line and the whole team really's got to hit the weights. They really got to build some team chemistry until they can come out and compete in a tough GMC conference, which, I mean, the GMC is tough every year. As we talked about, 3 teams are tied for third place right now, Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're going to see how they adjust going into the season.
The ball will be punted away, and Vikings will get one more crack to try to find some points, but only 46 seconds in which to travel.
Without a timeout, too. So
travel
even tough.
Travel about 82 yards.
And that's a far way to go.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I mean, has Princeton started the third down? I mean, I just think, something, they got to hit the drawing board, finish off the season, and then hit the books, hit the weights, just do something. Because, I mean, this program has so much potential, Glenn, as we've seen over the years. I mean, they have the personnel to do it. They're just in such a tough conference, and there's a botched snap.
Yeah. Floyd's just going to throw a desperation pass that somehow caught. Pass is complete, but the receiver can't get out of bounds, so the clock will continue to move. But just a desperation throw by Floyd, who comes up a little bit gingerly as he was hit after that ball was released back near the end zone. Another one, that's a pretty pass by Floyd, but
that's picked off.
Overthrown and picked off back at the 40-yard line.
That was Tyree Meisel.
Yeah, Meisel just great job. It's in the right position, good coverage, and it was a well-thrown ball by Floyd other than not being very accurate. So that look right there says it all. That's just a look of frustration for the Vikings, and lots of hope in this game after being scored at halftime, and really just seemed like they played about the same level they did in the first half, and Mason stepped it up several notches.
Yeah, and the Viking faithful begin to leave, and teams start to line up at the 50-yard line, and Mason's definitely got to walk out. I mean, going out with a win is always good, especially conference win late in the year, but definitely a lot to work on. They're going to hit the drawing boards for Fairfield next week, which will be a tough game. Adams takes the knee. That'll be a ball game.
So that's probably just about going to finish off any playoff hopes that the Vikings were harboring at the moment. And Mason's going to look to continue. Your final score, the Mason Comets 14, the Princeton Vikings 0. David, your closing thoughts on this football game?
Just like you said, tale of two halves, Glenn. Mason definitely made the right halftime adjustments where Princeton couldn't make those adjustments to the running game, to the passing game, where they needed to succeed. So a lot of hope for Princeton, but Mason's got a big game next week with Fairfield, and they're going to have a fun shot at the playoffs.
Well, it's always a pleasure to watch Matt Sora play the game of football. He had a dominating performance tonight. Will Adams really came alive in the second half, showing his speed at the quarterback position, and it's going to be fun to see what this Comets team is able to put together down the stretch. Well, folks, we appreciate you tuning in to ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football. On behalf of our producer and director, Jason Dudley, and from our broadcast partner, David Olson, I'm Glenn Olson. See you next time on ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football.